ASMR Magical Tools. Hi, welcome back. 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 So, this is going to be for the week ahead, July 5th through the 11th. We're going to start out with the moon in Taurus, and it will be then entering the sign of Leo by the end of the week. There will be a new moon on Friday the 9th. So let's get right in to Monday the 5th of July. There's going to be a sextile early in the morning between the moon in Taurus and Neptune in Pisces, which will be retrograde at this time. So, as I mentioned before, Moon and Neptune are two different octaves of the same note and have to do with intuition, communication with your higher power, things like that. The sign of Taurus is very rooted in stability and comfort, seeking out comfort, while the sign of Pisces is very flexible and can have to do with endings to some extent. This would be a very good time to have a prophetic dream if you are still asleep at that hour. It's going to be 4:30 in the morning on the West Coast and 7:30 in the morning on the East Coast. Would be a great time to have a prophetic dream about how to set yourself up for the future. So keep that in mind, especially if you do dream work. Just remember that the night of July 4th into the morning of July 5th. There will be a trine, an earth trine, between the moon in Taurus and Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. Now remember, this Pluto in Capricorn, especially when it's retrograde, really has a lot to do with people changing careers, people challenging their ideas of what they need as a career in their life. So this trine with the moon in Taurus, there could be things coming to light about making that more stable. There's going to be a sextile between Sun in Cancer and Uranus in Taurus. So again, dealing with these energies of possibly joint possessions, jointly held possessions, and seeking out comfort in new ideas. And the Sun in Cancer is really going to illuminate people's emotional states regarding that. Now it is a sextile, so that should be aiding this Uranus and Taurus placement. We'll be shining light on, possibly like, what is it that you really want? What are the things that you really want out of this situation? And then the moon is going to enter the sign of Gemini. And the moon in Gemini is going to square Jupiter in Pisces, which is retrograde at this time. That's going to be an overnight energy, so 10 p.m. on the West Coast or 1 a.m. on the East Coast. And I actually see in my planner, like my eyes are kind of playing tricks on me, and I see the edges of the square kind of rounded off. So this could create tension, but it could also just be forcing change. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that's difficult to go through to force change. The moon in Gemini, again, good for prophetic dreaming. And Jupiter in Pisces is this energy that is very much about expanding in all directions, and there's a lot of fluidity there. There's a lot of unpredictability there, because sometimes Pisces energy can be so flexible that it kind of loses its own identity. So that's entirely possible here. And that could be why the edges are getting kind of rounded off. There's something very expansive going on right now with this Jupiter retrograde in Pisces. And it really doesn't feel like it does have its own identity, which is good in some ways because it makes it malleable and you can kind of mold it to your own purpose. So next, on Tuesday, July 6th, there's going to be another square, which is Mercury in Gemini, and that is square to that Neptune in Pisces placement, which is retrograde. So Jupiter and Neptune are both retrograde in Pisces right now. Which means that there's an expansiveness going on with a lack of predictability, and that expansiveness can also have to do with one's prophetic visions and psychic awareness and communication with higher powers and entities that you might be working with. So this in particular is going to be very first thing in the morning. This is a very early morning energy. Mercury in Gemini is very good for communication. So this very well could have to do with a prophetic dream involving a deity or an entity with which you are working. Later in the evening is when we're going to see the rest of these placements on Tuesday, July 6th. So the first one of those being a sextile between the moon in Gemini and Venus in Leo. So the moon and Venus are both very feminine energies. This Venus in Leo is good for creativity, also good for romance. But remember that Venus can also have to do with cash money. Venus and Jupiter are like the feminine and masculine sides of that coin, quite literally. So think of it that way. And then with this moon in Gemini, there could be communications coming to light. With the moon energy, though, communication could be obscured, so just keep that in mind. Right after this, we have a trine. It's an air trine between the moon in Gemini and Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. So this trine between the moon in Gemini and Saturn in Aquarius is going to lend itself to communication regarding things like hierarchies. So if there's a job situation where there's hierarchies involved and people have been really digging in their heels, this moon in Gemini, communications could come to light to kind of ease that tension. That's what a trine will, ease the tensions in different situations. So it could even be there was a mass memo sent out months ago and everybody forgot all about it, and you happen to be cleaning out your inbox and you come across it and you realize that months ago corporate had said something that you've been saying for a couple of weeks and nobody's been listening. So it could be an opportunity to kind of get the ball rolling on something like that. It doesn't have to be that exact situation. Remember that we're mostly talking about these things in general terms. But that's kind of a scenario that this would apply to. Venus in Leo is also going to be in opposition to that Saturn in Aquarius, which is retrograde. So that Venus in Leo, it's a good thing that that's happening around the same time with this. There's going to be that trine with the moon in Gemini. That moon in Gemini is also going to be sextile Venus in Leo. So there's going to be a lot of air energy involved, but then also this fire energy coming from Venus in Leo. So that things will not be able to remain the same. There will have to be a change, and it could be regarding money, it could be regarding creative control of a project, it could be involving romance, of course. So any of those things are an option. And then finally, there's going to be a sextile between the moon in Gemini and Chiron in Aries. And that Chiron in Aries placement is all about healing impatience in the self, or healing selfishness, or healing the parts of the self that begin things and don't follow through with them. So this moon in Gemini, same kind of deal, that there could have been a company-wide memo sent out and people haven't followed up with it. And so now, with that Chiron in Aries sextile, this email is coming to light again. And people are saying, well, why didn't you follow through with this? So that's just one example that I'm giving. And of course, I always encourage you to use the ephemera when you're planning your spell work as well. So if you are trying to get some kind of communication across regarding romance, regarding a creative project, or regarding a challenge to the status quo, Tuesday the 6th will be a very good time to do some kind of spell work about that. We'll also be leading up to the new moon, so any kind of spell work would be road opener, clearing the path type spells. Tuesday the 6th, especially in regards to communication, if you're clearing the path for some communication, especially we just had that Mercury retrograde end and the shadow period ended last week. So that will be a perfect time to do some kind of road opener spell regarding communication. Let's look at Wednesday the 7th. So very, very early in the morning, there will be then a sextile between the moon in Gemini and Mars in Leo. So whatever that situation was with the previous evening with Venus in Leo, this Mars in Leo energy is the force, the power coming through, the energy required to affect some kind of change. So whatever that situation was the day before with Venus in Leo, this Mars in Leo energy is going to come through and kind of clear that even further and propel that situation along. There's going to be a trine between Venus in Leo and Chiron in Aries. So wrapping up these loose ends, and that could be related to romance. That's going to be around 1 in the afternoon on the west coast and 4 in the afternoon on the east coast. And then right after that, on Wednesday the 7th, we're going to start an opportune period. So the moon in Gemini is going to be squaring Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And that's going to be around 5:12 p.m. on the west coast, 8:12 p.m. on the east coast. And is going to be kind of an overnight energy. This opportune period is going to last about 4 hours, so until about 9:20 on the west coast, or 12:20 the next morning, 12:20 a.m. So like right after midnight on the east coast. And that's going to be when the moon's void, of course. And at that time, the moon in Gemini is also going to be conjunct Mercury. So that's kind of cool. Also, this is the balsamic phase of the moon, and it's going to be really favorable for wrapping up projects. So burning just a tad of that midnight oil, possibly on Wednesday the 7th, but nothing too intense, nothing too crazy. The other overnight energy that we have right after this opportune period for Wednesday the 7th is the moon in Gemini quincunx Pluto in Capricorn. So some of these could be work projects. You could be sending out a late night email. You could even be sending out a late night email that is a resignation letter. You could be like, you finish this project and then you're like, that's it, this is my 2 weeks. Now I'm making a lot of analogies to workplace right now, but it doesn't have to be about your workplace. This could be about a number of different situations, and I'm just using that as kind of painting broad strokes, kind of just giving you a picture, an archetype, if you will, but that could look different for everybody, and it probably will. But this could be a big change coming through because of the communications that you're putting out there this week. So on Thursday, July 8th, the moon is going to enter the sign of Cancer, because of course we're going to be having that new moon on Friday. So the sun and the moon are in the same sign and are conjunct. Mercury in Gemini is going to be quincunx Pluto in Capricorn, because remember, we just had that quincunx between the moon and Pluto. So now this Mercury in Gemini, quincunx Pluto, it's retrograde. Pluto in Capricorn has really been creating a lot of volatility in the job market over the past couple of years. This is going to be around 8:30 in the morning or 11:30 in the morning, again depending on if you live on one of the coasts in the United States. And again, this is going to be wrapping up some of those communication energies. So if you sent out a last minute email late at night, the previous night, or in the wee hours of the morning, you might be hearing back about it around 8 in the morning or around 11:30, depending on your time zone, before noon, before everybody goes to lunch. The moon in Cancer is going to be trine, sorry about that, Jupiter in Pisces, which is retrograde. That moon in Cancer, that is the moon in its native sign. The moon is Cancer's ruler. And this Jupiter in Pisces, expansive in all directions, retrograde energy. There's going to be quite a buildup of these emotional energies, and you could really just be feeling very like a lot of emotional parity with others, and feelings of love kind of spread all around. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. We're not talking about Venus energy here. We are talking about the moon. But it could be a very expansively emotional energy. And that's going to be kind of in the middle of the day on Thursday, the 8th. And then finally, early afternoon, the middle of the day to the early afternoon, there's going to be a square, and that's going to be between Venus in Leo and Uranus in Taurus. So that is a good energy to come off the heels of that trine between the moon and Jupiter. Venus in Leo is a very romantic, playful energy, and doesn't have to just have to do with relationships, can also have to do with your financial relationships with people and your creativity. And Uranus in Taurus, so we've got the two fixed signs, and they can kind of be at odds with each other just by merit of the fact that they are squared to each other, but can also help you turn up the charm in order to win people over to your point of view. And that will be especially useful if you are talking about jointly held property and everybody's stability. So Friday, July 9th is the new moon in Cancer. And this is great for pushing things out of your life. The new moon is like a beautiful void into which you can just push all your problems out and they disappear like magic, right? That's not entirely the case. But it is a good ebbing energy to let things flow out of your life. The moon in Cancer is going to be quincunx Saturn in Aquarius, which of course is retrograde at this time. That's going to be in the morning, not super early in the morning, kind of in the middle of the morning. And this emotional state of the moon in Cancer is going to drive some kind of change in the hierarchy of things. So it could be that because of an emotional state, you've let go of something, you've won someone over. There's all kinds of possibilities there. Maybe somebody's heart was hardened and it has softened with the moon in Cancer. There are all kinds of scenarios, of course. A little bit later in the morning, there's going to be a square between the moon in Cancer and Chiron in Aries. So any selfish parts of the self are going to have to be dealt with at that time. And that is going to be right after that quincunx with Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. So there might be situations that are involved in both of those. The moon in Cancer is also going to be sextile to Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus and Taurus, again, jointly held property, security that is held by a group of people, but also brand new ideas involving stability in people's lives. So working out your feelings about these things, and it is a sextile placement, so it should be something that ends up smoothing the way for you and for everyone around you. And then finally, it's going to be 6:17 in the evening on the west coast and 9:17 in the evening on the east coast that we experience the conjunction of the sun and moon and the true point of the new moon. So the best time to use that is 1/2 hour before and 1/2 hour after the sun and moon conjunction. If you have something really important to start, this would be an excellent time to do so. And remember, this Cancerian energy, and especially when you're dealing with the new moon in Cancer, which is the moon's native sign, you can really delve into the ebb and flow of moon energy. You can really capitalize on the emotional states, on finding things that are hidden, on all of these traits that are Cancerian and also native to the moon. So, and even like fourth house things. So if you are trying to find a new house or a new place to live, or you're dealing with things with family, so a lot of these fourth house things, it would be a good time to deal with those also. Saturday, the 10th of July. The moon in Cancer, is going to be trine Neptune in Pisces. There's just a lot going on, so it seems like I've already talked about this, but I was talking about Jupiter retrograde in Pisces, and now I'm talking about Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so this is going to be a really good trine for a couple of reasons. Remember, the moon and Neptune are 2 octaves of the same note, and then we have Cancer and Pisces, which are both water signs, so you can capitalize on that energy. And then we're also dealing with both of those celestial bodies, the moon and Neptune, being in their native signs. So you can deal with 4th house energy. You could also deal with 12th house matters. Anything you're trying to put an end to, anything you're trying to total out, any kind of intuition you're trying to bring in, communication with higher powers, anything like that. This is going to be around 4 in the morning on the west coast or 7 in the morning on the east coast. So very early in the morning, could be a little too early for some of you, but might still be worth working with. There's going to be an opposition between the moon in Cancer and Pluto in Capricorn. And this opposition between the moon and Pluto, it's very good that you have the trine before this. This is going to be occurring a little bit later in the morning, and it will be when the moon is void of course. So when the moon is adrift and not really at its strongest, right before it goes into the sign of Leo. This is going to be reconciling your home life with your work life, your family with your ability to obtain resources for yourself and on your own means. And because we're dealing with that Pluto retrograde, a lot of things have been very up in the air and kind of turbulent and volatile. So this will be a good time to deal with that, but because it's an opposition, obviously things could be kind of tough also. And then later in the evening, you're going to have the moon in Leo, quincunx Jupiter in Pisces. And Jupiter is more inclined toward fiery energies, and Leo is more inclined toward fiery energies. But the moon is very much about watery energies and things being hidden. And then Pisces, anything is possible, nothing is forbidden, and psychic awareness and energies. So you can find some ways to weave that together creatively and expansively to do a working of some kind on Saturday the 10th that could help you move your career forward. We'll be coming off of the new moon, so you can go into that expansive cycle. And of course, the more time you give a working to build up, the bigger you can make it. So that's 8:14 p.m. on the west coast and 11:14 p.m. on the east coast. And finally, let's talk about Sunday, July 11th. July 11th. Mercury is going to enter the sign of Cancer. And then that's going to be in the afternoon. A little while after that, there's going to be an opposition between the moon in Leo and Saturn in Aquarius. And again, this Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, new creative ideas could be coming to light with this moon in Leo that challenge the status quo. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Status quo. So there could be a little bit of friction there. Sometimes when the people in charge see people having good ideas, they get jealous and they steal those ideas for their own. There can be all kinds of drama involved in that. Right after that opposition, we are going to get a trine between the moon in Leo and Chiron in Aries. So that should kind of soften things up a bit, because what's going to happen then is Chiron in Aries is going to help people with their selfishness to realize that what's really important is that these good ideas get out into the world, this creativity is allowed to flourish, and that it's really not about me right now. So hopefully that trine energy on Sunday the 11th, following that opposition with Saturn in Aquarius, will help people to kind of work together better. And remember that if the environment is there for a working, that you can always use a little bit of magic to augment any kind of placements. So, if you want somebody who's being a little selfish towards you and not recognizing your creative ideas, if you want to influence them, you could definitely use this trine between the moon in Leo and Chiron in Aries to hopefully influence them to be less selfish. And then finally, in the evening of Sunday the 11th, there's going to be a square, and that's going to be between that moon in Leo and Uranus in Taurus. So that Uranus and Taurus energy, again, jointly held possessions, brand new ways of being stable, and other such pursuits, kind of squaring off against this creative Leo energy augmented by the lunar energy of being only partially illuminated. So there might be an idea that hasn't been fully explained, and it makes people a little bit uncomfortable, and that leads to that kind of tension. So that's possible for Sunday, the 11th of July. Hello, Aries. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So, this will be for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and any other Aries placements you might be curious about for the week ahead. And I will be using, this is a slab of opal. Now, it is not iridescent like other opal, but it is still an opal. And I did put oil on the surface so it'll be shiny for scrying. Aries, you are going down a well-worn path. Past landmarks you recognize readily. I feel like you could be walking, there might be like a shortcut through a neighborhood to get to a friend's house. It's that kind of path. And everything's going to be the same as it always is, except that your brain does something very funny when you are on a familiar path, which is that you fill in these details. You fill in details, and you might not necessarily notice if something has changed. Sometimes you notice right away, depending on what the change is and how noticeable it is. Sometimes you notice right away, but some changes you just aren't going to notice. Your brain just, blocks that out. And this could be one of those times. Especially paths that you walk regularly. Could be somebody lying in wait. They might not be lying in wait for you. They might be just lying in wait for somebody. But this is an encouragement for you to maintain awareness, even in situations where you are very, very comfortable. And that it might be good for you to, don't wear headphones. Make sure that you're paying attention not just to your path, but also to what is on either side of the path. And possibly bring somebody with you. Bring a buddy. A lot of these things are more fun if there's more people involved anyway. So it could be something like that. And just keep your wits about you. This is somebody who's very much like a, like Peter and the Wolf. It's that kind of situation. There's a certain amount of cat and mouse. So they're not, the first time you notice this person, if you notice them right away, might not be the moment that they strike. But if you are not paying close attention, then the first time you notice them might be when they've already snuck up on you. So, I don't know what this situation is specifically, or if you go out walking by yourself, or something like that, I would just keep an extra level of awareness and vigilance about you. I don't think that this person will necessarily be able to harm you, but the key is going to be maintaining your own level of awareness. So let's look into the bibliomancy. Biblio. And if you would, direct your questions right here. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Let's see what we have. Rise early, work or walk before you eat, and doubt it not. So, might be an invitation to get some activity in before you take your breakfast also. Aries, thank you so much for joining me this week. I always love our time together. If this resonated with you, let me know down in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Taurus. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So this is for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and any other Taurus placements you might be curious about. So for the readings this week, I will be using, this is a slab of opal. It is not the iridescent opal, but it is still considered opal. So Taurus, what do we have going on over the course of the next week? The convenience of sliced bread. So, I'm not seeing like nice whole grain bread either. I'm just seeing like a plain white processed style bread, like a Wonder Bread or any of those Sunbeam, that same category, that thinly sliced white bread. It's mostly very refined. It's something that's a matter of convenience. It's not a matter of preference. And this has to do with some kind of arrangement. So this is like it could be a contract, it could be an agreement between you and another person. It's arrangement of convenience. And it is very much like I mentioned, Wonder Bread, in that it's not purely life-sustaining, but it'll get you through a particular period and will give you the energy that you need to get on to other things. Pairs well with mustard. Pairs well with peanut butter and jelly. So just kind of basic. And this is important to Taurus. Why? Because you want to make sure that if you're signing an agreement about something, that you will have room for renegotiation further down the road, so that this is not your only opportunity to hash out these issues, but that you will potentially be able to renegotiate later when you're in different circumstances and when everybody's in different circumstances. So just make sure that you're reading all the clauses very carefully and putting yourself in a situation where you can most benefit from this arrangement, because it's not going to be something extravagant or fancy, but you will still have opportunities to progress using these resources. All right, Taurus, and if you would, please direct all your questions here into the cover of this book. Wonderful, wonderful. And thou art sincerely beloved. And if you have prominent Taurus in your chart, I can only imagine that's the case. Thank you so much for joining me this week, Taurus. I greatly enjoy our time together. If this reading resonated for you, please let me know down in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hi, Gemini. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So this is for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and any other Gemini placements that you'd like to know about for the week ahead. For these readings, I'm going to be using, this is a slab of opal. It doesn't have any of the iridescence in it, but it is still considered opal. And Gemini, what are we looking at for the week ahead? Septuagenarian. So I wonder if some of you are going to be celebrating the birthday of an elderly family member or relative, or yeah, it feels like it's probably a relative of some kind, and they're in their 70s now. And so everybody's excited that they've lived such a long life. Health good or bad? Yeah, health good, spirits good. And what is important about this for Gemini over the week ahead? You've been given a lot by this person over the years. This is somebody who they possibly could have raised you from time to time. It's also possible that this person took care of you a lot, or provided for you quite a bit. And so celebrating their birthday is something that you're excited and happy to do. It's an opportunity for you to show your gratitude for this person. And so there's not really much going on as far as that's concerned. Just that this person does feel the love and appreciation that you have for them. Is there anything else I need to tell Gemini about this? Oh, so you might be debating what you should get them as a gift. And the important thing is not so much finding something that they need or something they need to store around their house. You can get them something that you know that they'll like. It doesn't have to be of great cost. The important thing is that it's like the gesture. Now, obviously, if you just got them something really generic, they would appreciate the gesture and they would know that you meant it, but it would be more meaningful if you just got them something that you know that they will enjoy. Even if it's like a gift card to their favorite restaurant or a box of chocolates or something like that. Just something that you know that they will appreciate. All right, Gemini. So if you would, please direct your questions here into the cover of this book. Awesome, wonderful, wonderful. If thou remainest in thine own country, thou mayest still be successful. And I know I've read that for somebody before, but I don't remember. If it was Gemini, it might have been Sagittarius. Thank you, Gemini, for joining me for this reading. If it resonated with you, please let me know down in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Cancer. Cancer, welcome back, welcome back. This is going to be for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and any other placements which are in Cancer in your birth chart that you might be curious about for the week ahead. For all my sun sign Cancerians, I wish you a very happy solar return if you are celebrating your birthday this week. All right, so, the stone that I'll be using, this is a slab of opal. It does not have any of the iridescent flashes in it, but it is still considered opal stone. So Cancer, what are we looking at for you for the week ahead? You've been given a boundary by your body. Or you have given a boundary possibly to somebody else based on physical constraints upon you. But it's you setting this boundary based on what you are physiologically capable of maintaining. So not even that you wouldn't be capable of performing certain feats of strength, but to be expected to carry something over a long distance is unreasonable. And so you're going to be setting a boundary about that this week. Something about the ocean tides. So there's also like a cyclical kind of that maybe it's perceived by this person that you have set this boundary because you are governed by the ocean tides, and that's not necessarily the case. This is not something that is coming out of nowhere, and this is not something which is based on a change of temperament or mood. It's something that is purely dictated by your physical form. And the boundary might have been given to you first, and then you have to translate that to others. Translate your boundaries to others as they are handed down as edicts to you by your physical body. So anytime there's a situation like that, obviously it's non-negotiable. And I'm hearing that Velvet Underground song, Who Loves the Sun? Who cares that it makes rainbows? Who cares what it does? Since you broke my heart. So that could be something that is coming up for you this week also. Because, of course, sometimes you set a boundary with somebody and it turns out to be a deal breaker in your relationship with them. This is that super hit oil. And I'm just going to use a little bit of that, a little bit of this super hit oil on the stone. And my neighbors can be kind of loud, so I hope that not too much noise is leaking through the wall there. Not really sure what they're up to this evening. I try not to pitch too much of a fit when I feel like they're being too loud. I try to be reasonable. Alright, let's move on to the bibliomancy. Oh, that oil smells really good. If you would, Cancer, direct your questions right into the cover of the book. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I've had experiences like that before, definitely. I know what you mean. Yeah, it can be very tough. The man of thy heart, or the person of thy heart, will not be rich, but his person will be well favored, and they will give thee every satisfaction. So, if this was a love relationship, there will be love in your future. As a Cancerian, I can't see how there wouldn't be. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I always love our time together. And if any part of this resonated for you, please let me know down in the comments. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Leo. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This reading will be for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and any other Leo placements in your chart that you are curious about for the week ahead. For the readings this week, I am using this slab of opal. It does not have the iridescent flashes in it, but it is still considered opal. Leo, what are we looking at this week? Give me something else that's not as valuable to you. So there could be a situation over the week ahead where maybe you're over at a friend's house and you need a jacket. I don't know why you would need a jacket this time of year. Let's say you go over to a friend's house and then spur of the moment you guys decide to go swimming somewhere and you borrow a bathing suit from this person. And they're like, take my best bathing suit. This is Chanel. It cost me $3,000. And you're like, I don't really need your Chanel bathing suit. Do you have anything from a few seasons ago? Maybe something that's a little frayed around the edges, just so that I am not wearing like something that actually has value to you. Give me something that doesn't have value to you. In case something happens, I'll be able to enjoy our time together better if I am not feeling the whole time on edge as though I might be destroying something that you love. So that could be something that is coming through for you in the week ahead, and this could be borrowing something. It could also be in a situation where, like in a work situation where you have to kind of have boundaries between your workspace and another person's workspace. If there's too much overlap into their work area, it might start to impede their own process. And it might be the kind of thing where they don't even realize it until 3 weeks go by and they start feeling really tense and they don't know why. So this could be an energy, Leo, that you encounter this week. Be mentally prepared to run into this, because it's not the kind of thing you always assume that if somebody's giving you something that they have it to give freely. But there might be a situation this week where somebody doesn't have something to give freely and they're trying to give it to you freely anyway. So just be mindful of that over the week ahead. And if you would, please send your questions here into the cover of this book. Excuse me. So ask yourself a question, Leo. Do riches bring content and happiness? Riches? Possibly not. Obviously, security can bring you security and stability, bring you a peace of mind which is unparalleled. But mind that those security and stability are not illusions, and that the truth is something much more vast than what you are currently capable of witnessing. Thank you for joining me, Leo. I always enjoy our time together. If this resonated with you, please let me know down in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hi, Virgo. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is for Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and any other Virgo placements in your chart that you are curious about for the week ahead. This week, I am using a slab of opal. It does not have the iridescent flash, but it is still considered opal. Virgo, what are we looking at for the week ahead? When I was in high school, we lived in Fairfax County, Virginia, and there was a town called, there still is a town, I'm sure, called Falls Church. And Falls Church, they had like a record store that was in a basement. They had a thrift store where I worked while I was in high school. And they had a main street with a median down the middle with trees and grass and stuff. And it was just a very like clean, tidy sort of a place, Falls Church. I don't know if it still looks like that. Because I haven't been there in quite a long time. And I think there's something like you're seeking out that kind of neatness and orderliness in your life. What is important for Virgo to know about this for the week ahead? you are aligning your vibration to that kind of an environment, but with subtle, slight differences. Like, I think it's also important to you to be able to maintain your autonomy and to maintain your own individuality. Because, of course, when I was in high school there, like, I did have friends at school who, and I went to high school in a neighboring town, so I wasn't going to Falls Church High School, just to clear that up. But I did have friends who had, you know, different color hair and tattoos and stuff. But that was not the norm, and the norm was skewed more toward people gearing up for a life working for the federal government. So, I think that you would like to be able to enjoy a life in a quiet and orderly place without sacrificing your ability to express yourself and your individuality. But the closer you refine and tweak this alignment of your vibration to what it is that you actually want, the closer you will get to that goal, even if you're not able to really see that in its... I don't even think fulminence and fulgitude, I don't think those are words. But what I mean is the totality of that, what that experience is going to look like for you, Virgo. Fulminance and fulgitude. I don't even know what that means. All right, Virgo, so if you would, write your story right here in this book with your brain, and I will pick it apart for you. A slight disorder affecteth the person concerning whom thou art solicitous, but it will soon pass away. So it could be that somebody you have a crush on is under the weather, I think is kind of what that means. Or it could be a spouse or a loved one. But it'll clear up on its own. Thank you for joining me, Virgo. If this reading resonated with you, please let me know down in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Libra. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and also for any Libra placements about which you are curious for the week ahead. For these readings, I am using a slab of opal. It does not have the iridescent flash, but is still considered opal stone. Libra, what are we looking at for the week ahead? You said something to somebody which they took as an assurance or a promise, but that might not have been how you meant it. So make sure that you clear up with this person. That's not what you meant. That's not how you intended that to be taken. Like, they could have said something like, boy, I really need a ride to the post office tomorrow. And you could have said something like, you sure do. And they would have taken that to mean that you were going to provide them with a means of transportation to the post office. That's just an example. It doesn't have to be that strictly, but it could be something like that, like we really need to tighten up the numbers for the next fiscal period. And you could have said, like, I agree, we really do need to do that. And they took that as an assurance on your part that you were going to take responsibility for that happening. So make sure that when this situation occurs, that you clarify and remind them of also, you know, the other things for which you are responsible, and say, you know, that's really outside my area of expertise. I think that it would be good if you brought in somebody who's an expert and paid them adequately for their services. Something like that would be an okay thing to say, because it's also possible that this is something that you'd be willing to do. You're just not willing to do it for free. So just make sure that this person that you are dealing with has a good, clear understanding of your boundaries regarding this situation, Libra. I don't think that they would be able to take advantage of you, but it might end up being a situation that causes a rift between you and this other person unnecessarily if things are not clarified from the beginning. All right, Libra. If you would, please direct your questions here into the cover of this book. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Accuse not the innocent rashly. So, again, this could tie into that self-same conversation. Maybe you accuse somebody of being selfish when in fact the burden of evidence is on you to set that good, solid boundary with somebody. Libra, thank you so much for joining me today. I love your company. If this reading resonated with you, please let me know down in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Scorpio. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, welcome back. Are scorpions arachnids? I think they have 8 legs. Anyhow, this is for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising, but also any other Scorpio placements in your chart which you're curious about this week. So the stone that I will be using is an opal slab, but it is not the iridescent opal with flash. It's just a run-of-the-mill opal, but I still like it quite a bit. It has lots of color variations and inclusions, and it shines really nicely when I put oil on the surface. Scorpio, what are we looking at for the week ahead? You barren country. Bare and country. There's like a... Oh, hold on. This is going to take me a moment to parse out. Is it country music? Walking down a sidewalk in the Southwest, possibly Southern California somewhere. It's very hot outside, the sun is beating down, and there's that stereotypical twang of country music playing on a transistor radio somewhere while you are sweating and the sun is beating down directly upon you. That's not a very conducive environment for a water sign like Scorpio. What's going on here? Perhaps you were counting on someone to give you a ride or to pick you up, and they dropped the ball. That's possible. Or perhaps it's that you needed to do something and were not able to get assistance with getting a ride. Or maybe there was never any intention to get a ride. You were going to the corner store to pick up a pack of smokes. That is something that has come up before. I don't remember if it was for Scorpio specifically. Yeah, the door opens and closes, and there's like that jingling. There's like the bell attached to the door of the corner store. And give me... Oh, are you buying gasoline too? Scorpio, what do you need gas for? You came here on foot. Is somebody planning an arson? Oh, that's interesting. I don't think it's an arson, but I do think you are planning to set something on fire. We are having a very dry period of time in the western United States. It is hotter and drier than it was the previous year. So be very careful what kind of fire you're setting. I'm seeing you like burning a big pile of some kind of memorabilia, and it is so hot. It is incredibly hot because it's bright daytime outside, and you have set this fire. Now, to your credit, it looks like it's in an oil drum, like a metal drum, and that it is in a desert type area, so not around a bunch of trees or combustible materials that could catch on fire. You could have gone out to the desert to set this fire. This is not a very Scorpio type energy, because this is happening, first of all, in the middle of the day. Second of all, it's involving the element of fire, which is in direct opposition to the element of water. But it's a cleansing of some kind. So instead of cleansing yourself using the elemental energy of water, you're choosing to cleanse yourself using elemental energy of fire, and you're burning like, this could be scrapbooks, it could be old pictures, it could be stuff from exes. I don't feel like this is all just stuff from one person, though. I feel like, well, I mean, it is from one person, it's from you, but it's not like from one particular relationship. You're burning all the stuff from this one ex. This is kind of like you're burning all of this, what has become waste to you. Things which are old, which must be destroyed. And so, yeah, I see you setting a fire, a cleansing fire for yourself next week, Scorpio. If you would, please direct your questions here into the cover of this book. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Despair not, thy love will meet its due return. Scorpio, thank you for joining me today. I always love our time together. If this reading resonated with you, please let me know down in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, but could also apply to any Sagittarius placements in your chart about which you are curious for the week ahead. I will be using, for the scrying this week, this slab of opal. This is opal, but it doesn't have the iridescent flashes in it. Sagittarius, what are we looking at for the week ahead? I see Sagittarius often spending time around family and co-workers in these readings. But this time I hear something different, which is the Bread song. Is it Bread or America? That did the song Horse with No Name. Riding through the desert on a horse with no name. And that's kind of what I see for you this week. You're out in the desert. There's cacti, there's mesas. You're headed toward this point on the horizon. And you're not going there to meet anybody. You're going there strictly to be alone. You could be seeking gold. You could be taking 2 tons of turquoise to Taos. But it's almost like you're on a mission that's no one else's business. Even mine. Especially mine, After all, I'm a stranger on the internet. Isn't that the kind of person you're supposed to be guarding yourself against the most? But I feel like this is a quest which is yours and yours alone. And it will be successful, but there will be elements of it which lack closure. That you are not going to get a certain satisfaction out of it being done. There's just going to be like a lack of closure there for you. And if you took on this task because you were hoping to settle some disquietude within yourself, that disquietude will wait for you to return from vacation. And you're going to have to deal with it in some other method. All right, Sagittarius, if you would, please direct your questions here into the cover of this book. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Rely more on the actions than on the promises of thy friends. So, something to keep in mind and close to your heart. Sagittarius, thank you for joining me today. If this reading resonated with you, please let me know down in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Capricorn. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So this reading is for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and any other Capricorn placements in your birth chart which you are curious about for the week ahead. I will be using this slab of opal. It is an opal, but it is not, it doesn't have the iridescent flashes in it, but it's still considered opal. Opal, opal. Capricorn, what are we looking at for the week ahead? You've been very gracious to people lately, insofar as I feel like you might be giving away a lot of your possessions, and a lot of your time and energy to other people. And this is not based on merit or need, but rather based on your own feelings of not necessarily guilt, but culpability in different situations. So that there is a feeling for you that you owe this to the world for some reason, possibly based on your own previous actions or behaviors. So just that you're trying to pay it back and pay it forward and pay it outward. Jupiter is in Pisces right now, so if you have a Jupiter placement in Pisces, Jupiter cycles through all the signs, I think like every 12 to 15 years. So that's possible. But that I'm hearing mistakes were made. I'm not opening myself up to judgment just because mistakes were made, which is a reasonable standpoint to hold in a lot of different situations. Just because things happen doesn't mean that you owe the rest of your life to the person that you may have wronged. It might have been intentional, it might have been unintentional. And that person you might not necessarily be able to pay back, and that's why you're kind of extending yourself in other ways to other people over the course of the upcoming week. And by the end of it, you will feel absolved, but not before you feel that you've extended yourself too far. First, you're going to feel like, I shouldn't have done that for that person. They didn't deserve it. And that's kind of when you know that your absolution is coming, is that you start to have that feeling about other people. There's just going to be something in the air, something that makes you feel very generous with your possessions and with your time and energy, that you don't feel that way. The first 20 customers get in free, basically. That the first 20 people that you help out this way, you feel very much like this is going toward my karmic debt in some way. All right, Capricorn, if you would, please direct your questions here into the cover of this book, and I shall glean for you a recipe, Mind what thou art about, and thou art sure to be successful. And that's the recipe for your success. Thank you so much for joining me, Capricorn. I always enjoy our time together. If you resonated with this reading, please let me know down in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hello, Aquarius. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is going to be for Aquarius Sun, Moon, Rising, and any other Aquarius placements that you are curious about for the week ahead. I will be using this slab of opal. It does not have the iridescent flash, but it is still considered opal, which is fine. I like the variations. There's some veins, and there's some different color bands and patterns on the stone, which make it enjoyable for reading. Aquarius, what are we looking for in the week ahead for you? Ooh, somebody's hiding. If you don't, you're more than welcome, Aquarius. If you do not feel up to the scrutiny this week, you don't have to watch every week. I'm not going to take it personally. There's a lot of hand holding in this video. You could be hesitant to ask for help about something. You could be feeling like kind of embarrassed that you need help with something this week. And if you don't ask for help, people are not going to know that you need help. Although I don't think that that's really what the crux of the issue is, because I think that people could volunteer help and you still wouldn't take it. This is one of those situations where you're willing to go down with the ship just because you're taking on a little water. And rather than trying to bail yourself out or plug the hole in the boat and accept help from another person, possibly to steer or row while you're busy bailing this thing out, you're embarrassed that there's a hole in your ship and you feel ashamed and you don't want to take the help. And it could be, that you're the only one who goes under. If this goes under, I'm the only one who's gonna bear the brunt of that. But I also want you to know that, for one, there's no reason for you to feel ashamed. Whatever this situation is, it's going to be different for everyone. But I also feel like there's enough shame around it that you're hiding it. And so I'm not really seeing people's situations regarding this issue. But I want you to know that there's no reason to feel ashamed. And for two, it's perfectly acceptable to ask for help about this in particular. Yes, you out there, you can absolutely ask for help in this situation. All right, Aquarius, if you would, please direct your questions here into this book. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, I feel it. Yeah. No, it's like a blossoming in my chest. Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you. Yeah, right back at you. So, this isn't great. The chances are 3 to 1 against thee. But that just means that the payout is higher should you succeed. And I know that you will. Aquarius, thank you for joining me this week. If this resonated with you, please let me know down in the comments if you feel comfortable doing that. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Hi Pisces. Hello Pisces. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This will be for Pisces Sun, Moon, Rising, and any other Pisces placements that you might be curious about for the week ahead. So, the stone that I'll be using this week is a slab of opal, but it is not the opal with the iridescence and flash. It's still considered opal, and it's just a slightly different composition, or like the way that the matrix is configured, that causes some opal to have flash and some not to. Obviously, the more flash it has, the more expensive. But I still like this stone quite a bit. There's a lot of variation to the surface. It's got some veins. I really like this kind of orangey, beigey, taupey color, contrasting with the white. Pisces. What are we looking at for the week ahead? Organ meats, the organ grinder. So, making sausage of something, kind of grinding everything up together and just shoving it into one flimsy sausage casing all together. And you know that it's going to taste good because you put a bunch of seasoning in there, and it's going to have a pretty uniform consistency. So what you can do with less than ideal situations, which is like having a bunch of organ meats, the cast off things that that you don't necessarily see in the butcher shop window, right? All of these organ meats, you grind that up and you make the sausage out of it. So if you find yourself with some less than ideal circumstances, just remind yourself of how hot dogs are made. Not everything that you eat has to be the top of the hog, so to speak. You can also find ways to combine, even in ritual sense, there's a kind of an alchemy to making sausage, right? Where you're adding the seasonings, you're adding the spice. There's a ritual to it. The grinding of the meats, the stuffing of the casings, hanging them up to age, or sometimes they let sausage harden, or, you know, there's all kinds of ways that they make sausage taste really delicious, and they're not usually using like the prime cuts of meat to make sausage. They're usually using stuff that would be thrown away otherwise. Giving it the right flavors, smoking it, hearing like capicola ham. I don't know how that's made. I think that is like a nicer cut of meat. It's really tasty. I like how it's got like that kind of toothiness to the consistency when you bite into it. That's something that really appeals to me, is like the bite feel of foods, even more so than like mouth feel, is to me the bite feel. How does it feel when your teeth sink into it? So you might be able to take these limited resources over the next week, or less than ideal resources, and turn them into something really marvelous that you're going to be able to use to move yourself forward. All right, Pisces, if you would direct all your hopes and dreams and delicious little feelings into the cover of this book, and I will answer all of your questions through bibliomancy. You will have every cause to love your partner. But of course you would. Let's get another one. Anticipate not misfortunes before their time. Thank you for joining me, Pisces. I always love our time together. If this reading resonated with you, please let me know down in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon.